So Chuck Liddell was arrested in the early hours of Monday morning. If you don't know who Chuck Liddell is, he's a former UFC champion, all-around stand-up guy, philanthropist, all these things. And he was arrested for alleged domestic battery. And he released a statement that, I'll read it. "I was the victim of the incident last night at our family home. As details of the case will reveal, the deputies informed me that my wife would be arrested as I did not respond to her assault while I sustained bruising and lacerations. I volunteered to go in her place." Now, that's the most manly thing that you can do. It's literally any real man knows that a woman hits a man doesn't respond. A man should never put his hands on a woman. You just let it happen, and then you deal with consequences or try to restrain her or hold her. But even nowadays, women can characterize that as abuse if you try to resist or defend yourself. And this is an example of what the only thing a man can do is literally take it, and then the real man goes to the police in her place. Even this situation, he could have sent her to the cops, but he didn't. He literally went in her place. He was a stand-up guy, and he's being drugged as an abuser by people who don't know the situation or people who didn't look into it, because that's the politically advantageous thing to do right now. Is if there's any just inkling of a fall from grace, people jump on it like ravenous just leeches. They suck on it. They get serotonin from this schadenfreude of watching people fall, or die trying, and just watching heroes fall. We root for the hero to fail as opposed to rooting for the hero to win. It's like what happened to us. Obviously, social media is a huge element of this psychological manipulation that causes people to be happy when people experience horrible, life-altering circumstances. I've seen it in my own life. I've seen best friends turn their backs on each other and throw each other under the bus for fear of social ramifications. I mean, we're already living in the CCP's social credit system, and this is an example of that. We're going to condemn Chuck Liddell for no reason, and then when we find out that he was the one who was getting the shit beat out of him by his own wife, it's just going to go away instead of people talking about it and bringing up this double standard. It's like we could go back 200 years ago where a woman could hit a man because it really didn't matter. Or if we're going to be in this situation, we're going to cast aspersions towards men so haphazardly, and we're going to characterize all masculine behavior as abusive. But then we're not going to look at the fact that, anecdotally, I don't know a man who's been in a serious relationship who hasn't experienced some physical abuse at some point in one of their serious relationships. It's pervasive. And the fact is this is a men's rights issue. Men experience the most levels of suicide, the most levels of domestic violence. We just don't talk about it. The highest levels of false accusations. I think it's over 700,000 annually in the United States recorded via social media and different illegal aggregates since 2017. 700,000 false accusations a year towards men just in the United States, and that's college campuses on. You have the most levels of workplace death, the highest levels of wrongful termination. The way that divorce court is set up and custody court, it's disgusting. And we're not bringing any attention to these issues because it's not politically advantageous. It's like the disabled community. The disabled community gets human trafficked the most, and we don't bring that up because it's not sexy, because we can't do anything about it, because the disabled community covers a huge spectrum of successful people and doesn't hit the certain zeitgeist that makes the political machine happy. It's just we are bringing attention to the most arbitrary issues while completely mystifying and actively stigmatizing issues that are the universal and pervasive ones. We have to women need to stand up and band together and really take some alpha woman initiative and point out the fact that men are a victimized class. If we're gonna play by these definitions where we're literally not calling mothers anymore, if mothers are birth givers now, and we're living in this clown world, then the very least we can do is be fair about it. Let's if you're gonna introduce this chaos, well, chaos is fair, and in this chaos, look at this. Men experience. You want to play the pain Olympics. Men are worse off. And this is a huge example of this, where we have a serious result happen in a family, or serious incident happen within a family. The man handles it like a man, and he still has to he's literally beaten, and he still has to defend himself like he's the bad guy. Men literally react like they're the bad guy automatically. Young men go from a protected class to villains instantaneously. I don't think anybody really knows that. A boy's 15 and he's a protected class and a child, and as soon as he's 16, he's a perpetrator of systemic violence, systemic toxic masculinity. And God forbid he's white. God forbid he's he's attractive. Everybody's rooting for him to fail automatically in this society, and it is a male-geared view. I mean, black men are torn down by other less successful black men and black women. Native American men are torn down by other Native American men. I mean, it's pervasive. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about religion, gender, race. It's because of this day and age that we're in, where we've feminized power, and we've made power, the way that we wield power, is so feminine. We don't wage physical war anymore. It's all reputation damage. It's all one big middle school cafeteria, and it's not tenable. So women need to stand up in this big cafeteria and say, hey, you know what? We're being bitches. Like, this isn't the way to wield power. And women are fated to wield power inferiorly because of how women treat other women. I mean, they treat women like mothers treat daughters like sexual competition in this day and age. They treat them like sisters, and all these women just ugly stepsistering each other, and just all this reputation damage, and people want to blame men for it. I mean, how much blame are you going to heap on a man's shoulders? I mean, don't we carry the burden of enough of society? I mean, we deliver everything. I mean, I don't need to list all of the jobs that men do that women would not, or non-binaries would not step into doing, and yet men are constantly just shit on by society. Women need to stand up in this big middle school cafeteria, band together, and say, you know what? We don't deserve power if we're going to wield it like this. Period.